my name is Charles Pratt. I'm an assistant arts professor here at the NYU Game Center. Really, when we were starting up the Game Center, so the Game Center has an ultimate mission of sort of creating the next great generation of game designers. But part of that mission, we think part of that mission is not just offering classes or offering, just an education. It's also about supporting culture. And so when we decided to start the Game Center, we were looking around for what kinds of game culture we wanted to support. And New York has always had a really vibrant fighting game culture, and we all really loved Street Fighter and this sort of thing. So it was kind of a no-brainer. We just did a little tournament for the school, and the first year was very small. And then over time, it's grown. I mean, a lot because the community came to us and has done a lot with us.
I'm John. I'm from Mashfest NYC, which is an organization we put on casual gaming events at bars. We have a bi-weekly happy hour meetup where guys just come together and play games and get a little bit drunk. This is probably my 4th year at Spring Fighter, I think. The first year I was they showed the I Got Next film, which I thought was really good. And then they've also had Daigo and Seth Killian, so they have really good guests. And you get to hear, a lot of fighting game events are more about just the competition, but so this is kind of like a cool panel in combination with the tournament. So I really like that idea.
So my name is Chen, but some of you may know me as MilkTea. I come from the competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee community, and I represent just myself. I mean, the most obvious reason is it's in Brooklyn, New York, and it's just easy to get here, so I figured why not come, but I also know Charles Pratt and the NYU Game Center is really great. They turn out a lot of awesome events. Either Facebook or Twitter, and a bunch of my friends have come here often, like Prague, my community is here a lot, so. I like that the venue is classy, and it's a very intimate feel, also that it's in Brooklyn, it's accessible, it's good venue, clean bathrooms, most important thing.
So my name is Nikita Mikros, and our soon-to-be newly formed company is Bumble Games. We just make Killer Queen, basically. It started off as a field game, and so that was basically people running around with foam swords and shields and whatever, and then we made the video game version of it, and then Charles asked us to be part of No Quarter. And Street Fighter players seem to respond really well to it. It's a lot of the same kind of basic skills, so they like it. We hear a lot of comparison, it's StarCraft meets Joust, it's a MOBA, it's the League of Legends of arcade games, it's I don't know, it's one of those things, or maybe all of them, I don't know.
So I think of people like Seth Killian and Daigo and Alex Valle as scholars in a way, right? These are games that people play for years. They're brilliant at them. They have really interesting and important things to say and stories to tell about that history. And so when Spring Fighter got big enough and we were thinking about ways to expand it, it seemed really obvious that, one of the things we could do is to kind of help sort of build a history of it, right? To bring in the people who know the game better than anyone else, who've been there since the very beginning, to talk about the game and the culture around it. And they're all they're all brilliant. I think the problem is that video game players get a reputation for not being very articulate, maybe, or something. But in fact, you look at a lot of the best players, even the best Street Fighter players, and you just ask them to talk about what they do. They're really insightful and informative, and so that was just a value. We just really wanted to expand out into that sort of thing. I really love fighting games, and I love the fighting game community. But I think that things are changing. I think this is a time of a lot of change, and I think this is the time to introduce all sort of different types of people to fighting games, to get the fighting game community to understand sort of the different people that are maybe interested in it. So, you know, we try to have, you know, we invited Smash people here this year because I think that there's no reason that these have to be two different communities. I think they're both stronger together than they are separate. You know, I'm really interested and concerned with getting more women into game design and into fighting games and into everything. And so one of the things with Spring Fighter we've tried to do is create a safe space for that, and a space where that's available. And I hope we're doing a good job with that. I mean, that's a long campaign, and I'm just, you know, planning on being on that road for a long time. But I think we've made inroads. So it's really the people. I mean, I think the games are brilliant, but the games will change. But it's really the people who've been around forever, and they're smart, and they're good, and they're supportive of each other, and I think that's really cool. And I like to support that. I think that's a good thing for Spring Fighter to support.